In this course, I'm gonna teach you and take you through everything you need to know to get started programming with Python, assuming that you have no programming background at all. We're gonna start from the very basics and go all the way up step by step, and we will get more advanced. First of all, there are so many programming languages out there like C, C++, C Sharp, JavaScript, and more. And so why Python? Because Python is an easy to learn, powerful programming language. It has efficient high-level data structures and a simple but effective approach to object-oriented programming. Python's elegant syntax and dynamic typing, together with its interpreted nature, make it an ideal language for scripting and rapid application development in many areas on most platforms. Therefore, Python is one of the top and most popular programming languages out there, and it's by far one of the most sought after for jobs. So if you are looking for a job or trying to have the right skill for application development by writing awesome scripts, then you are in the right place. Therefore, by the end of this video, you will be able to write your own awesome source codes and run them by your own. So let's dive directly into it. First of all, I want to check if I already have Python installed on my PC. To do that, simply go down to your taskbar and type in command prompt. Click on command prompt. This opens up the command prompt window. To check for Python, simply type in Python and then -- version and hit enter. If you have Python installed, it tells you the version of Python installed in your PC. Here you can see that it says Python was not found. So I need to install Python. So close the command prompt window. To get Python, go to the website python.org, and that opens up the Python homepage. On the Python homepage, go to Downloads and click it. It opens up the latest version of Python at the time of making this video, and it automatically identifies your operating system. But if you are on a different operating system, you can choose from the available options. So Python 3.11.2 is the latest version at the time of making this video. Click on download and it starts downloading. Once it finished downloading, click on the .exe file to install. So click on run. But before clicking on install now, go down here and check add Python to pass. Click on install now. This installs the setup. The setup installation was successful, so close the window. Now open the command prompt again and check Python version and if it is successfully installed. So type in Python space -- version. Hit enter. This now shows you I have Python installed on my PC and the version is 3.11.2. Now close this command prompt window and open up the Python. So to open the Python, go to the taskbar and type in Python. You can see that this Python 3.11 matches our search. So click on this prompt. This opens up the Python terminal window where you can start programming in Python. We are now in the Python's interactive window where we can start to code. So we can just start typing in some Python codes. So I want to show you guys a very basic Python program, and it's just gonna be a HelloWorld program that is just gonna print something out onto the screen. So I'm gonna type in print, which is a Python's built-in function, then open and close parentheses. Now inside of this parentheses, put quotation marks and write hello world. This is just a very basic Python program which prints out hello world onto the screen. Now hit enter and here it says hello world. So it's sending back exactly what we sent into this function. Congratulations, you have now run your first program in Python. Now you can see that Python takes the line of code, it interprets it, and then evaluates it. So it gave me hello world. But in other programming languages, you have to compile it first and then execute it. But with Python, it will interpret it and you are going to see the output. Now, before exiting out of the Python terminal and show you another more comfortable ways to write and execute Python codes, let me show you what else you can do on the Python interactive terminal. The Python interpreter acts as a simple calculator by simply typing in an expression at it and it will write the value. The arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all the rest work just like in most other languages. For example, if you type in 2 plus 2 and hit enter, gives you the result 4 as you expected. And if you type in 50 minus 5 times 6 with multiple operators, in this case subtraction and multiplication, and hit enter, gives you the result 20. That means Python applies operator precedence just like in most other languages. Another example is if you write 50 minus 5 times 6 within parentheses divided by 4, gives you the result 5.0. And here you can see that Python gives you a floating point result by default for division. That's why it's 5.0. And if you type in 8 divided by 5, gives you the result 1.6, which is again a floating point result. It's also possible to use double asterisk operator to calculate power. For example, if you type in 5 double asterisk 2, which means 5 to the power of 2, gives you the result 25 as you expected. And another example is if you type in 2 double asterisk 7, which again means to the power of 7, and hit enter, gives you the result 128. Another important point to mention here is that in Python, the equal sign is used to assign a value to a variable. Afterwards, no result is displayed before the next interactive prompt. For example, if you type in a variable, width is equal to 20 and hit enter, no result is displayed because the value 20 is assigned to the variable width. And if you type in another variable, height is equal to 9 multiplied by 5 and hit enter, no result is again displayed because we are assigning the value 9 multiplied by 5 to the variable height, right? Now if you type in width multiplied by height and hit enter, then the result 900 is displayed as you expected because width and height are the variables assigned with a value 20 and 9 multiplied by 5 respectively, right? Alright, so to exit from the Python interactive terminal, simply type in the function exit with parentheses and hit enter. Then you are automatically out. Now that we executed our code so far directly in the Python terminal, but we can also use a text editor to write a code. For that we can use Notepad in Windows. So open Notepad by typing in Notepad on your taskbar. Click on it. This opens up Notepad. It's actually pretty powerful application. So just like we did previously, type in print, open and close parentheses, put in quotes, and type in hello world once again. So this is the source code within Notepad. Now to be able to run it, go up to the file menu, go down to the save as, and this opens up the save as prompt. Now let's name it as hello world and change the extension for Python, which is .py. Because just like the extension for text files is .txt, Python's extension is .py. So type in .py in front of the file name. Now let me save it to my desktop and then click on save. Here I see the file on my desktop named HelloWorld, and note that it has Python logo on it because I have installed Python. It then automatically identified that it is a .py or Python file. Now let's run this source code. Therefore, go down to the taskbar and type in command prompts. And this opens up the command prompt. Now to run this file, here in the command prompt, type in Python since it's a Python file. Then simply drag and drop it over into command prompt or write the path of file. Dragging and dropping is the simplest trick we can use to locate the file. Next, hit enter, and here you can see that it prints hello world in the command prompt. Once again, congratulations for being able to write and run some basic codes in Python. Now let me show you a more efficient way to write and run a Python code. It's actually perfectly fine to use text editors like Notepad to write and run your code, but it doesn't help in automatic formatting and checks. Therefore, the most efficient and easy way is to use an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. So let's jump in and interact with one of my favorite IDE called Visual Studio Code, which is made by Microsoft. And what's cool about it is that it's entirely free. If you haven't Visual Studio Code installed on your PC, that's fine. I have made a video on how to get Visual Studio Code, and you can get the link from the description of this video, or simply click on the URL now at the top of the screen, install the Visual Studio Code, and come back to where you are in this video. Now, assuming that you have installed Visual Studio Code, let's open Visual Studio Code and set up for Python. To configure Visual Studio Code for Python, go to Extensions on the left-hand side and click on it. On the search bar, type in Python to install the Python extension. Hit enter and you can see many extensions. Click on the very first one that is made by Microsoft. Click on Install. Once we finish installing the extension, we need to select Python that we installed at the interpreter for Visual Studio Code. To do this, simply press Ctrl Shift and P on your keyboard at the same time, and that opens up this screen. Here type in Python, select interpreter. This allows us to select the interpreter we want to use. Select this option and now I can choose my interpreter, and here you see Python 3.11.2, which we have already installed. Select that and now you are all set to use Visual Studio Code for writing Python codes. To get started, let's open up the Hello World file we have created previously. To do that, go up to the File menu and click on Open File. Now select the file. So click on Open. This opens up the source code file we created. Now you can notice why we want to use an IDE or Integrated Development Environment such as Visual Studio Code. The first thing is that you have line numbers for each line of code now. Second, the print function is highlighted in different colors. That enables us identify which part is the function and which part is the text that is printing. And the third one is when you move your mouse cursor over print, it shows you some important suggestions on the type of content you can add within this function. Now let's run this code in Visual Studio Code. So simply right click here and go all the way down to the option that says Run Python file on terminal. This opens up the result and you can see that it executed or interpreted the file with this path, and here it prints out Hello World. Another easy way to run the file is that you can go to the top right corner and click here on this icon. This runs the file and gives you the same output. Alright, now you know the basics of writing and running a Python code. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get notified for other similar contents.